Oh, the GOAT has spoke. George St. Pierre was asked, who is the greatest fighter active, right? So not greatest of all time, who's the greatest fighter active, which is a little bit of a unique question. I mean, they changed one ingredient, but I liked it. I've never heard it asked that way. Okay, I'm in. Who's he going to say? He says Kamaru Usman. And you kind of have to, right? Do you guys have a different answer? Who would it be down to? You're probably going to go, okay, it's got to be champion, so Usman or Adesanya. I would guess that if we got 100 fight fans together, I would guess that those guys dominate. It's going to be one of those two. But it doesn't have to be, because you don't have to look at champions, right? You could look at Covington, by example. You could look at the number one contender. You could look at Bobby Knuckles, just by example. Great fighters. Used to have belts, don't have them right now. They can still be in discussion. It's one of those tough things, but you kind of have to say Usman, don't you? There's no known weakness. There is no place, if you were to get experts together, Clayton Hires, Javier Mendez, Matt Hume, Greg Jackson, experts, Trevor Whitman. All right, guys, not saying we can do it, but where do we beat Usman? Everyone's going to be stuck. No one's going to say, oh, you got to put him on his back. Oh, you got to get him against the fence. Oh, you want to keep him right at range. Shut those kicks down. Keep him in nice and tight. Oh, clinch with the guy. There's nowhere you can do it. Oh, you got to get him in the fourth round. You know, he always has bad fourth rounds. Get him early. He's a slow starter. There's nowhere you can do it that we know. I don't know of a weakness. I don't remember a round that Usman lost aside from against Covington, right? That was 2-2 going into the fifth. I don't remember a round. He won them all against T. Wood. I'm trying to think. I know they gave Masvidal a round when they fought in Fight Island. But just so you understand how judges work, once the fight's done, right, you got a five-round contest, you've already marked 3 for one guy. You are now, just out of human nature, much more likely to tip your hat to the other guy out of kindness, out of respect. What's the point in saying he lost every round? Why can't I give him a round? I don't change the outcome. Now, judges would never admit that. They don't know that they do it. They're human beings, though. This would be human nature. I bring that to you because it's false. That did not happen. Masvidal did not win a round against Usman, regardless of what the scorecards in the history books say. I can't think of a round that he did lose. He must have somewhere. Someone must have got over on him. It wasn't RDA. I remember that fight. That was 5-0. I mean, this is all off the top of my head. Came through the Ultimate Fighter. You know, most of those were 2-round content. He didn't lose any rounds there. When did Usman lose a round? It's had to have happened. But damn, that's dominant. And when the greatest of all time weighs in, that's how you get that, right? To be the man, you got to beat the man. But in a greatest of all time discussion, argument, that's all it is. They're words. You don't throw a punch. You don't enter a tournament. There's no architecture. So to be the man, you got to beat the man. He just got the nod from the man. And George is a tremendously hard guy to say he wasn't the greatest when you're arguing on paper. Not only did he do it, and as long as he did it, not only did he right every wrong, not only did he come back to a different weight class and grab it again, he also beat the original generation that he walked into, his generation, and then the future generation, right? When he beat Johnny Hendricks, who Johnny then goes on and grabs the belt and runs with it, that then represents that he beat the next generation after him, the next group of guys. It wouldn't matter if Johnny held that belt for a day or for a decade. If he grabs the belt after George left and George beat him, George gets that credit. Well, how do you beat that? I mean, some of that's just luck, or opportunity might be a better word. An opportunity to fight these guys at the right. Guy's going to get that opportunity, but he did. So it's hard to beat. Then he went through them a second time. It was the second time that is now the biggest trap that you're going to get stuck in if you try to say somebody was greater than George. Usman is on his way to doing that. That's what the rematch with Masvidal began. That's what the rematch with Colby is going to continue. That is what appears to be next should he get past Colby and he and Leon get in there again. If Usman cleans that division out once and then he cleans it out a second time, he automatically gets the greatest of his era, which is more than anybody could hope for. He becomes the greatest of all time, and cleaning it out a second is going to be a very strong argument, because then you start to talk about, well, were the guys better today or were they better in yesteryear? And why people tend to say that people came before them were better, it's just not true. It's just not true. Nobody was better 20 years ago than they are today in any sport. And you'll hear that about people that try to say Jordan is better than LeBron. You're not complimenting Jordan and you're not insulting LeBron. And one of those two was fully your goal. You did not want to give it to LeBron, or you have nostalgia against Jordan. What you are effectively doing is saying that the sport of basketball stopped 30 years ago. You insulted the entire, it's just not real. It's just simply not true. So that debate and that conversations get a little bit stronger. But I think that Usman should be very proud of himself. I think that it's a tremendous compliment that he just got handed. But I don't think that George was looking to gain any favor. I believe that George answered the question straight. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But if I was to tell you who's the greatest fighter competitive right now, you got to go Usman.